How's it going, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to the channel and welcome to the 5 things I love and hate series. In this one then, as you can see, we have the absolutely beautiful Range Rover Sport. I've had this car on 3 occasions now. I had it for a whole day, I then had it for a weekend, was able to pick this one up, which I've had for the past 5 days. So overall, I've had this car for around a week and I've done about 2,000 miles in one of these now, so I feel like I'm in a good position to tell you the 5 things that I love and hate about the current model of the Range Rover Sport. The first thing I'm going to tell you I absolutely love about these new Range Rovers is the new design on them. I was a bit unsure at first when they first released, but I tell you what, they've absolutely grown on me. In certain colours, these look absolutely amazing. The first thing then that I absolutely love that I want to talk about is this whole new front section. So what they've done is they've made this Range Rover Sport look a bit more like the Velar and the new Range Rover. So what they've done by doing that is they've curved everything and smoothened it all out. So this front bumper now is so smooth and so sleek. There is angles where it does look exactly like the full fat Range Rover. The only difference is the light clusters on it. I was a bit unsure on where the reg sits on these originally, and that is the same thing with the back. So I would have said that I should have sat a bit higher to make them look sportier, but I actually have came and grown to really like where that reg sits. If you get a private reg and it's shorter, it looks even better. So for the first thing that I love, it is the design on these ones. I think every angle, apart from one angle, these do look absolutely fantastic. As I give you a little walk around here, that side stance of the car I just think is perfect. The way the lights swoop round to the side of the shoulders of the car is unbelievable as well. This one sits on 21-inch wheels, I want to say, with the diamond cut style. I would prefer them to be all black myself, but I think every angle of this car looks absolutely fantastic. Keeping with the design is something that I loved as the first thing then. I do think the front of this car is where it really pops off. It's not just all about being mean and aggressive. It has a very timeless look to it as well. I think in years to come, this will still look beautiful. It's obviously the dynamic pack, this one. So it has that lower lip there. It has these struts on the front, adds the vents on the top as well of the bonnet. And I just think overall, if you get the dynamic version of this Sport model, the front and side design profile of this car is absolutely beautiful, and that would be the first thing that I loved about this one. Coming on to the second thing that I loved about this one is actually going to be one of the best new features of the new Sport, I think, and that is going to be that all of them come as standard, I believe. Don't quote us on that one, but I believe they all come as standard with air suspension. So as you can see here, you come into the car and you have these 2 buttons. If I press on one of these, don't know if you can hear that, but you should definitely be able to see the car is raising up. You can hear that burst of air as it fills up the suspension with air to rise the car as high as it goes. Obviously electronically and air suspension rises it up, and if I come round now to the side, you will see just how high that is sitting on them tyres, on that suspension should I say. It's really put a massive gap in that wheel arch now, and it raised the car right up, giving you really good ride quality for when you're on that rugged terrain. If you're on bumpy roads and you raise your air suspension up, you really glide over them bumps. The air suspension is also really good for when you're trying to get in and out of the car. So obviously, as you can see, I'll leave the boot up. It's in its highest setting at the moment. If you were to attempt to get in, so I'll show you, if you were to attempt to get in this now, keyless entry is fantastic, but if you attempt to get in that now, it's quite the jump into the car there. If you're a smaller person, you might struggle, probably require a bit of a step to get yourself in. But where this air suspension comes in clutch, other than its ride quality, is going to be its access height. So when you get into the car will lower. As you approach the car and unlock it, the car will lower down for you. You'll drive around and it'll go in whatever height it believes it should be in for the roads you're on. But then when you come to get out the car, you also have the button on the inside of the car, which I'll show you now. You have this button here on the inside of driver's side door, this one here, just to lower the air suspension. So we'll go back to the back. So if you were in the car and you just finished driving, press that button and it works absolutely fine. But because I haven't been in the car and I haven't been driving, and I've manually put it up from the boot. It's only going to let us bring it down from the boot now, but you will hear again this burst of pressure come out of the tyres, releasing all the air and putting the car back down to its access height, which makes it much easier to get in and out of the car. So listen to this. And you don't have to hold that. Obviously, if you want to hold it, it can go all the way down. But as you can't really tell, the car is lowering. And especially the back, because obviously when you lower it from the back, it lowers your back suspension so that you can load things in at the back of the car. So if I come around now and I show you that angle, it hasn't lowered as much at the front. It has lowered a lot, but not as much as it has at the back. As you can see there, it's almost put the car on its back haunches to allow you to load things into the back of the car. So for me, the air suspension, getting in and out of this car, and for its driving capabilities and even its practicality of getting things into that boot, is absolutely spot on. The third thing that I'm going to tell you that I absolutely love about this Range Rover Sport is going to be the new interior. So hopefully the sun isn't affecting this too badly, but the interior of these now, wow, absolutely incredible. I absolutely love it. It's the perfect interior along with the full fat Range Rover. So jumping on in, once you get inside then, what a place to sit this is. It's very, very, very similar to the full fat Range Rover, if not exactly the same. But I believe that this is quite possibly one of the best interiors you can get in a modern vehicle. You've got the screen here, which is more than big enough. The colours on this screen, the quality of this screen is absolutely fantastic. And I love the centre console in this. The way this flows is just perfect in my eyes. You've got a perfect sized storage bin cover here, which acts as an armrest alongside the even added armrest you get. But the center console on this flows so smoothly, and just it's almost declustered like this as well. There's no sort of fiddly aspects to the center console around here at all. Everything that you want to be on a touch button is on a touch button. I just find it perfect. You've got your obviously gear selector here, you've got your start stop, you've got your volume button or your radio on and off. You then have your drive select, which if you pop that open and spin it, that'll change your drive select for you, which is much better than going through the screen to do it. Having that dial is fantastic. You then have gradient assist, your EV mode and your mountain on there. So coming back off this then, you have everything on this screen, absolutely everything you could ever need on a car. As you can see, we're actually on a 4-degree slope at the moment, which again, I'll get into the technology as one of the other things I love. But this center console in the infotainment system works an absolute dream, I think. So everything you get comes as standard on this as well. You're not have to paying for Apple CarPlay, you're not paying for Android Auto, you're not paying for anything else on this screen in terms of your compass, your wheel info, your weight sensing, your driving style, your energy impact. All these things come as standard. All of these apps are standard. Phone, voice, cabin lighting, park assist, air quality. You obviously get Alexa on these new ones, your vents. You can connect different accounts. You can view the weather, low traction launch, vehicle, 4x4 information, eco data, valet. All of these things are as standard. Like you go into your seats and it'll tell you how you want to have your seats set up, how you want to heat them, how you want to heat the back, adjust them, fold in, chauffeur, fold all, unfold all. Absolutely crazy the amount of options you have on this infotainment system. And that doesn't stop just here. Up on this dash as well, I'll just zoom that in a bit more for you. Up on this digital dash, it's brilliant. You got your display layout. I have it as map personally, but you can have it as focused or your dials. Focused obviously puts your media on it, and your dials chooses dial aspects you want. You've got your vehicle settings. You can view your tire pressures if you want to do. You can bring up your TPMS load settings, obviously light load, not tone anything, your passenger airbag, your auto apply 4x4 info, your show your warnings, which is obviously going to be your speed limit and stuff. And you've got your trip selection as well, trip 1, trip A, trip B. And you can just come onto here and just scroll through loads of different settings to have on there. And it's just a perfect infotainment system in my eyes. I love when a car has physical dials for your aircon, your seats, all to do with your front windscreen heating and stuff as well. When it's on, a center console as a touch button. Not only is it a touch button in here, it's haptic. It's just a really, really well thought out center console from Range Rover on this model. One of the things I am going to hate, which will be in the video, is coming to a change that Range Rover have done. But in this one, this is the perfect interior for the Range Rovers in my eyes, and one of the best for a car you can get. The fourth thing that I love about this Range Rover Sport is going to be its driving capabilities and its driving quality. So it's a Range Rover, everyone knows what that means. It's got to be comfortable, it's got to be luxurious, it's got to be something where you can waft around no matter where you are in the world, whatever the weather, whatever the conditions, and whatever the situation throws at you. You've got to be able to just waft in this with comfort, capability and dynamic experiences. So the best thing I've found about this Sport, which when I compare to obviously my girlfriend's Evoque, my previous Velar, the family Range Rover that we have, this one is by far the sportiest. Ironic, I know, bit obvious, it is the sports model, but this one is by far the sportiest, the most dynamic of the lot. The next one is probably the Velar, and then the big full fat Range Rover, and then the Evoque last. But being the sport model, it does exactly what it says on the tin. This, when it wants to go and it wants to shift, is absolutely fantastic. It drops itself on the air suspension into dynamic mode, and it absolutely goes. It has definitely a lot more capability on the roads than the full fat Range Rover does and the Velar does, and that is due to its air suspension and its technology. So when you're on a country road on this one, it really hunkers down, grips the road and goes around the corners. Its technology knows not to let the chassis and the body roll. So if you've got your sat nav linked up to the car, it knows what corners are coming next, and it preps the car so that you're going to go into that corner in the best possible condition, access, height, and sort of it sorts out your wheel differentials and everything ready for you going into that, so it can deliver the power of the best wheels possible for getting you in and round that corner. Less of a dynamic chat then. We also have the comfort of this one as one of the things I've loved. It's a Range Rover at the end of the day. It is so comfortable. Its air suspension means that whenever you're wafting in this one, it just glides over the bumps. It makes potholes smooth out so much nicer, and it has a great way of just making every road you go on, whether that be gravel or mud or UK roads, which are pretty naff in most places, feel like you're driving on clouds. Probably just had to cut that little clip a bit short there as a truck came through, but as I was saying, this car feels like you're driving on clouds. It is absolutely unbelievable at going over bumps and whatnot. It's not as comfortable as the full Range Rover, but that's to be expected. This is the sportier variant. This is meant to be a bit more dynamic, a bit more sporty, whereas that one is the full chauffeur style, absolute wafting expert. So yeah, the fourth thing I'm going to say that I loved about this one is going to be the driving capabilities of it, whether that be wafting, sporty driving, a bit more, not aggressive, but I suppose a bit more spirited driving, and the capabilities that this has to keep you on the road in the smoothest, nicest way possible, no matter how you are driving. The fifth and final thing that I love about this car then is going to be a mix of everything combined into one, and that is going to be the tech in this. And by tech, I mean the driving assistances you have. The tech in this thing then, and by that, I don't necessarily mean the infotainment system and the digital dash. They are perfect, like I've already said, and something I absolutely love about this one. But the actual tech which makes the driving of this car an absolute dream. So we spoke about the air suspension, we spoke about how that plays its part, we spoke about the tech that changes obviously your driving style when you're on certain roads. So if you're on if you're on country roads and you're coming up to a nice good bend that you can whip the car around, the car preps itself in advance to sort of hunker down and get you around that corner. I think we may have spoke about the driving modes, but if not, I'll quickly go into them now, as that is included. Obviously you have this little button here, up and down, for your driving modes. If you bring that up, you can manually choose a program on there, and you can flick through them: dynamic, eco, comfort. You got your grass, gravel, snow, mud, ruts, sand, and wading. But leaving that in comfort, then if I press that back down, it then says auto, and it'll say auto terrain response selected. That means the car will know itself what to do and what sort of mode to put you in, so that you have the best possible ride and the car can be as smooth as possible. So if the car thinks, oh god, I'm on some muddy terrain, or I'm on something where I need a bit more grip and I need to change the power delivery in the tires to get that grip, it'll change it into that setting, whether it be mud or snow or ruts or whatever. So it'll recognize as well if the ground isn't as firm and you're on sand, and it'll change into that. But the main driving tech that I absolutely love in this one is going to be the cameras, and it's also going to be the cruise control. So the cameras, then you go onto this section here and you can see you have the 3D surround cameras, and you can just swipe round and view every angle of this car to see where and when you're going to be getting close to that curb, or you're going to need to move slightly. Every possible angle is covered here, and it's just absolutely brilliant. You should never curb or ding your car in this with these cameras. The 3D aspect is just amazing, and the quality of it is absolutely crystal clear. As well as that tech, which obviously you can park yourself if you want, but you can also park the car yourself, so it can reverse out, left or right. Obviously it says apply brake to start the maneuver, forward out, it'll show you how you get out from a bay, or reversing out of a bay. And then if you want to park, so that's your leave setting, if you want to park, you can drive forward to search for spaces, and that will scan all the spaces in this area to work out how to park. And the car itself will work out whether that's a parallel if there's cars going up here, whether it's a bay if cars are going sideways. Unbelievable, especially when this thing is the size of it is. Assistance to park and to get out of spaces is just fantastic, and I put my full trust in it a few times, and it's brilliant. The last driving mode then, but the main thing that I've absolutely loved, is going to be your cruise control and your automatic adaptive cruise control. So when you're driving on, you press this button here, and that'll bring up your lane keep assist. Really does well, keeps you center of the lane, even lets you go around bends and stuff on motorways. But where this car really shines is its adaptive cruise control. You set your cruise control off, and then it'll set to adaptive. These arrows here and these arrows here decide how far away you want to be from the car in front of you. So this top one obviously shortens it, the bottom one elongates it. You can get sort of 1, 2, 3, all the way up to 5 car lengths. That Mini down there, as you can see, there'll be a way which I can set so that I want to stay this distance away from that Mini at a certain speed. So if I've set the speed control to 50 miles an hour, it'll do 50 because I'm that far away from that car. If I was closer and I was up next to this G-Wagon here, it would probably put us at about 48 miles an hour because I'm a bit close and it doesn't know when that car might brake. I went an hour and a half's drive yesterday on the motorway out to Kent, left on adaptive cruise control the whole way, and it was an absolute breeze. So that is going to be the 5th thing that I absolutely love about this Range Rover. The driving tech in here to make it the most subtle, perfect, smooth and comfortable, luxurious drive you could have. It's all there. It's an absolute wafter, this thing. And that doesn't even start to get into the sort of, as you can see, all the settings you have for your seats and everything. You press this any button on here and you're making yourself more comfortable. But just tap my seat slightly here, it usually brings up, there we are, it brings up this support, so you can change where you want to change your headrest, your bolsters, your lumbar, your cushion, in, out, backwards, heat, cool, whatever. This car is just the epitome of luxury. Obviously you can go even a step above to the full fat Range Rover, but I think this is all you need in an SUV and all you need in terms of comfort, which offers you that dynamic driving approach as well. You can throw this around corners, you can ping it down streets, you can drive it in and around town, and you can take it on the motorway and let it pretty much drive itself. So that is going to be the 5th thing I've loved about this one. I'm going to do a full review on it as well, because there's things like the storage and the practicality that I need to get into as well. But that has been the 5 things that I've loved about this Range Rover Sport. Thank you all very much for watching. Please drop a comment, like, subscribe, all that stuff, and I will hopefully catch you all in another one. Cheers guys.